My brother, the bastard, stole our house money to live lavishly, then framed me. He took brutal revenge on me. 2 years. 2 goddamn years of scrimping, saving, saying no to every little damn thing that might actually bring a sliver of joy into my otherwise work, eat, sleep, repeat existence. All for the house. Our house. Mine and Noah's, my older brother. The one who was supposed to be my partner in this dream, the one I trusted with every penny of our joint down payment fund. That account hit 50 grand last week. 50 grand. Enough to finally make an offer on that cute little fixer-upper near the park, the one with the big backyard Chloe, my amazing girlfriend, was already planning a garden for. This morning, it was gone. All of it. Vanished. Poof. Like a goddamn magic trick, only instead of a rabbit, it was my entire future pulled out of a hat and then stomped on by a size 12 boot. And Noah? My responsible. Always has a plan, older brother. He was gone too. Just a stupid, cryptic note on the kitchen counter. Needed a fresh start, don't look for me. N, fresh start. With my goddamn money? Oh, I was going to find him. And when I did, his fresh start was going to look a hell of a lot like a fresh hell. Panic. Pure, undiluted, gut-wrenching panic. It clawed its way up my throat, choking me. I grabbed my phone, hands shaking so bad I could barely dial. Straight to voicemail. Hey, it's Noah. Can't come to the phone right now. Leave a message or don't. That arrogant, dismissive tone, even his goddamn voicemail, was a slap in the face. I called again, and again. 10 times. 20. Voicemail. 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 The bank. I had to get to the bank. This had to be a mistake, a glitch in the system, some kind of elaborate, sick prank. It had to be, because the alternative was unthinkable. My own brother, stealing our dream. Stealing my dream? The teller at First Union, a young woman with tired eyes and a name tag that read Brenda, a name I now associate with a special kind of dread, for reasons that will become clear later, but that's another goddamn story for another day. Looked at me with a mixture of pity and suspicion as I babbled incoherently about missing funds, about my brother, about our house. Mr. Hayes, she said, her voice carefully neutral after tapping away at her keyboard for what felt like an eternity. The joint account ending in 7,854, it shows a balance of $12.47. $12.47 goddamn cents from 50,000. My knees almost buckled. But how? I whispered the word. A pathetic little squeak. When? Who authorized it? There was a single wire transfer, Mr. Hayes, she said, not meeting my eyes. Yesterday afternoon, for the full available balance minus standard wire fees. Authorized by Mr. Noah Hayes. The primary account holder. Primary account holder, right, because Noah was older. More responsible. The one our parents always trusted with everything, while I was the flighty younger one, the one who needed guidance. Guidance. Like a goddamn lamb to the slaughter. I trusted him, implicitly, with everything. He'd set up the account, he'd managed the deposits, and now he'd gutted it. Gutted me. The drive back to my tiny rented apartment, the one I was supposed to be leaving soon for our house, was a blur of rage and disbelief. My hands were clenched so tight on the steering wheel, my knuckles were white. My vision was blurry with unshed tears. Or maybe it was just pure, unadulterated fury. Chloe. I had to call Chloe. My girlfriend, my rock. The one person in this goddamn messed up world who actually got me, she was as invested in this house dream as I was. This was going to destroy her. She answered on the first ring, her voice bright, cheerful. Hey babe, just finishing up that report. Dinner at my place tonight? I was thinking, Chloe. I cut her off, my voice hoarse, raw. Something terrible has happened. I told her. Everything. The empty account. Noah's disappearance. The $50,000. Gone. Just gone. There was a long, stunned silence on the other end of the line. Then, a choked sob. Oh, Liam, no, she whispered, her voice thick with the pain that mirrored my own. Not Noah. He wouldn't. He couldn't. But he could, and he did. That was the goddamn sickening truth. I'm coming over, she said, her voice suddenly firm. All business. Don't do anything. Don't call anyone else. Just wait for me. Waiting was torture. Every tick of the clock was a fresh stab of betrayal. I paced my tiny living room like a caged animal, replaying every conversation with Noah over the past 2 years, every promise, every shared dream. Had it all been a lie? Had he been planning this all along? The thought made me want to throw up. When Chloe arrived, her face was pale, her eyes wide with a mixture of shock and a fierce protective anger that warmed me to my core. She didn't say anything, just wrapped her arms around me, and I just broke. The sobs ripped through me, years of suppressed frustration, of feeling second best to my perfect older brother, of this final, ultimate betrayal, all pouring out in a messy, ugly, cathartic flood. She just held me, let me cry it out, didn't offer any bullshit platitudes, didn't tell me it would all be okay, because right then, it damn well wasn't. Later, after the storm had passed, leaving me hollowed out and exhausted, Chloe, ever the pragmatist, pulled out her laptop. Okay, she said, her voice calm, focused. If Noah's gone, he's left a trail. Social media, credit card activity, something. We find him, Liam. We find him and we make him pay. And that's when it happened. The second gut punch of the day. Chloe was scrolling through Instagram, her brow furrowed in concentration. Suddenly, she gasped. A sharp, horrified sound that made my blood run cold all over again. What? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. What is it? She didn't say anything, just turned the laptop screen towards me. And there he was. Noah, my thieving, backstabbing brother, grinning like a goddamn Cheshire cat, standing on the pristine white sand beach of some ridiculously expensive-looking tropical resort, turquoise water sparkling behind him, a cocktail with a little paper umbrella in his hand, and on his arm, a woman I knew all too well, Jessica, my ex-girlfriend, the one who'd ripped my heart out 2 years ago. The one Noah had so sympathetically comforted me over, telling me I was better off without her, that she was shallow and materialistic. Apparently, not too shallow or materialistic for him to whisk away on a goddamn luxury vacation funded by my stolen house money. The picture was geotagged, Bali, fucking Bali. And the caption? The caption was the final brutal twist of the knife. Living our best life. Sometimes you just gotta take what you deserve. Number fresh start, number no regrets, number blessed. Blessed. He actually used the word blessed. While I was sitting in my shitty apartment, my dreams in ashes, my bank account decimated, my heart ripped to shreds, he was blessed in goddamn Bali with my ex-girlfriend and my $50,000. The rage that flooded through me then, it was beyond anything I'd ever felt. It was primal, it was murderous. If Noah Hayes had been standing in front of me at that moment, I swear to God I would have killed him with my bare hands. And enjoyed every goddamn second of it. That son of a bitch, Chloe breathed, her own face pale with shock and fury. He didn't just steal your money, Liam, he stole your ex-girlfriend too, and he's flaunting it? It wasn't just about the money anymore. It wasn't just about the house. This was personal. This was a deliberate, cruel, calculated act of humiliation. He hadn't just robbed me. He was dancing on the grave of my hopes, spitting on my misery. I tried calling him again. Of course, straight to voicemail. I sent him a text, a string of curses that would have made a sailor blush. No reply. Of course, no reply. He was too busy living his best life. Then I tried Jessica. Her number, surprisingly, wasn't blocked. She answered on the third ring, her voice a little breathless, a little giggly. Like she'd just been interrupted doing something far more interesting than talking to her ex-boyfriend whose life her new sugar daddy had just royally screwed over. Liam, she said, her tone a mixture of surprise and something else. Guilt? What do you want? What do I want, Jessica? I laughed, a harsh, ugly sound. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I want my $50,000 back? The money your new boy toy, my loving brother Noah, stole from me to fund your little romantic getaway to goddamn Bali? A sharp intake of breath on her end. Then silence. For a long, long moment. I don't know what you're talking about, Liam, she finally said, her voice suddenly tight, defensive. Noah said, he said this was his money. From a successful investment. Successful investment. Right. The successful investment of robbing his own goddamn brother blind. He's lying to you, Jessica, I said, my voice flat, tired. Just like he lied to me, just like he's probably lying to everyone. That money, that was for a house, our house, mine and his, the one we'd been saving for 2 years. Another silence, longer this time. I could almost hear the gears whirring in her head, or maybe that was just the sound of my blood pressure skyrocketing. He told me you two had a falling out, she finally stammered. That you weren't contributing your share anymore. That he had to take control of the finances to protect his investment. Protect his investment by stealing mine. The twisted logic of a true sociopath. And Jessica, poor, naive, easily manipulated Jessica, had fallen for it, hook, line, and sinker. Just like she'd fallen for Noah's bullshit charm in the first place, right after she'd ripped my heart out and told me I wasn't ambitious enough for her. The irony was a bitter pill. Jessica, I said, trying to keep my voice calm, even though I wanted to scream at her, to shake her until her teeth rattled. Noah is a thief and a liar. He stole $50,000 from me, from us, and he's using it to play a goddamn millionaire with you in Bali. How does that make you feel? A choked sob on her end. I can't believe this. He seemed so genuine. Genuine? Noah Hayes wouldn't know genuine if it bit him on his thieving ass. Look, Jessica, I said, my patience wearing thin, I don't really give a damn about your romantic delusions right now. All I care about is getting my money back. And making Noah pay for what he did. So, you can either help me, or you can stay out of my goddamn way. Your choice. Another long pause. Then, her voice, small, scared. What? What do you want me to do? A glimmer of hope. Maybe. Just maybe. Tell me everything, Jessica, I said. Everything Noah told you about this money. Every detail. Every lie. And then we'll see. She hesitated. Then she started talking. And the story she spun, the web of deceit Noah had woven around her, around everyone, was even more elaborate, more twisted, more goddamn infuriating than I could have ever imagined. He hadn't just stolen my money. He'd stolen my life story, twisted it, and sold it to her as his own tragic tale of woe, with me as the villain, the bastard, the absolute, unmitigated bastard. As I listened to Jessica's tearful, rambling confession, the missing pieces of Noah's betrayal started to click into place. His sudden interest in managing our joint account. His vague talk about diversifying our assets. His casual questions about my travel plans, my work schedule. He'd been planning this for months, systematically, callously, and I, like a trusting fool, had walked right into his goddamn trap. When she finally finished, an hour later, I felt drained. But also, strangely, energized. The anger was still there, a white-hot inferno. But now, it had a focus, a target, and, thanks to Jessica's unwitting contribution, a potential new arsenal of evidence. Okay, Jessica, I said, my voice cold, hard. Here's what you're going to do. My parents, Mr. and Mrs. Hayes. That was the next goddamn hurdle. I knew they'd take Noah's side. He was their golden boy, their perfect son. He could do no wrong. And I was just Liam. The disappointment, the one who was always causing trouble. I called Mom first, tried to explain, tried to make her understand. She listened, or pretended to. Then came the inevitable. Oh, Liam, honey, are you sure? Noah wouldn't do that. There must be some misunderstanding. You know how you sometimes exaggerate things. Exaggerate? $50,000 vanishing into thin air, my brother sunning himself in Bali with my ex. Yeah, Mom, just a little misunderstanding. Dad was even worse. Pull yourself together, Liam. He boomed over the phone. Stop making these wild accusations against your brother. He's probably just sorting some things out. You're just jealous of his success, his initiative. Initiative? The initiative to commit grand larceny against his own family? I hung up on both of them, my hands shaking with a fresh wave of fury and despair. They weren't just blind, they were willfully blind. They'd rather believe their precious Noah was a financial wizard than admit he was a common goddamn thief. And they'd rather believe I was a lying, jealous troublemaker than face the uncomfortable truth about their golden child. So much for family. Chloe was right. I was on my own in this. Or almost on my own. I had her. And now, maybe, just maybe, I had a very reluctant, very scared, but potentially very useful ally in Jessica. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Noah Hayes thought he was untouchable, sunning himself on a beach halfway around the world, laughing at my expense. He had no idea what was coming. The storm was brewing, and it had his goddamn name written all over it. So, my brother Noah, the family saint, the golden boy who could do no wrong, was a thieving, backstabbing, gaslighting son of a bitch. And he was currently living it up in goddamn Bali on my dime with my ex-girlfriend Jessica, probably laughing his ass off at how easily he destroyed my life, my dreams, my goddamn sanity. My parents, Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, useless. Worse than useless. They were practically his accomplices, blinded by their blatant favoritism, convinced I was the one who lost my mind. Chloe, my amazing, loyal, take-no-shit Chloe, was the only one in my corner. And Jessica was a terrified, confused, probably gold-digging mess, but she was a mess who now finally knew Noah had lied to her too. A small crack in Noah's perfect, impenetrable facade. But a crack, I was quickly learning, was all a desperate man needed to start prying the whole goddamn rotten thing open. Okay, Chloe said, the morning after my disastrous, soul-crushing calls with my enabling parents and my somewhat more promising, if still infuriatingly pathetic, call with Jessica. We were in my tiny, depressing apartment, which suddenly felt even smaller, more suffocating, with the crushing weight of Noah's spectacular betrayal pressing down on us from all sides. Chloe had her laptop open, a determined, almost feral glint in her eye that was both terrifying and incredibly, wonderfully reassuring. Operation Make Noah Hayes Rue the Day He Was Born is officially in full swing. Phase 1, evidence. Hard, undeniable, shove it down there, judgmental, throats, evidence. But where the hell do we even start? I asked, feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, like I'd just gone 10 rounds with Mike Tyson. The bank statements proved the money was gone, wired by Noah into the goddamn ether. His Instagram feed, a monument to his extravagant douchebaggery, showed him living it up like a king on his stolen throne. But proving intent, proving the sheer, malicious, cold-blooded calculation behind it all to a pair of parents who genuinely thought their precious Noah-farted rainbows and shat gold bricks, that was a whole nother goddamn ballgame. That was like trying to teach a pig to sing opera. We start with Jessica, Chloe said, her fingers already a blur across the keyboard, navigating websites I didn't even know existed. She's our reluctant inside track, whether she likes it or not. You said Noah fed her that whole elaborate sob story about you being the financial deadbeat, about him needing to gallantly protect his investment from your supposed incompetence. I nodded, the memory of Jessica's tearful, parroted excuses still a fresh, burning stab of anger in my gut. Yeah. Said I wasn't contributing my fair share for the house fund. Said he was worried I'd gamble it all away or use it to fund some irresponsible artistic whim. Pure, unadulterated, Noah brand bullshit. Exactly, Chloe said, a grim little smile playing on her lips. So if he told her that elaborate, self-serving lie, he probably told other people similar customized versions. He needed to justify his thievery, at least to himself, and certainly to anyone he might need to manipulate or silence later. We need Jessica to document everything he told her about that money. Every conversation, every text message, every goddamn casual remark, especially anything that directly contradicts what he told you or what he might have spun to your ever-adoring parents. I called Jessica again. She was still in Bali with Noah, her voice a hushed, nervous, barely audible whisper. She sounded terrified, scared of Noah, scared of being stranded thousands of miles from home with a manipulative psycho, scared of what I might do if she didn't cooperate. Good. A little fear might actually make her useful for a change. Jessica, I said, trying to keep my voice calm, reasonable, like I wasn't imagining all the ways I wanted to slowly, painfully dismember my brother. I know you're in a tough, shitty spot, but I need your help. You said Noah told you I wasn't paying my share for the house fund, right? That he was just managing it to protect it from me? Yes, she stammered, and I could hear the faint, tinny sound of bad pop music and distant, drunken laughter in the background. Noah was clearly still living his best life. He said you were being incredibly irresponsible with money, that you had Gambling debts. Gambling debts? I hadn't set foot in a casino in my entire goddamn life. My biggest vice was buying too many overpriced coffees. Okay, Jessica, that's a lie. A blatant, easily verifiable lie. Can you try to get him to talk about it again? About why he really took the money, about his actual plans for it, now that he's blown a chunk of it on this little tropical escapade. Record it if you can. Subtly, on your phone. Say you're just confused. Worried about your financial future together now that this big investment of his has apparently paid off so handsomely. It felt slimy as hell, asking her to basically spy on the guy she was shacked up with. But Noah had declared war, and in war, you use every goddamn weapon at your disposal. She was hesitant, terrified even. I could hear her ragged breathing over the shitty connection. But the thought of being stranded in Bali, penniless, with a man who was clearly a pathological liar and a thief, a man who had just stolen $50,000 from his own brother without batting an eyelash, that was a pretty goddamn powerful motivator. She agreed, reluctantly, said she'd try. While Jessica was playing Matahari in her beachfront prison of paradise, Chloe and I got to work on our end. The bank. First Union. They'd already confirmed Noah, the primary account holder, a designation that still made my blood boil, had initiated the wire transfer. But we needed more. We needed the destination of that goddamn wire transfer. An untraceable offshore account? Some shadowy crypto wallet? A numbered Swiss bank account like in the spy movies? Chloe, who apparently had a cousin who was some kind of cybersecurity ninja for a company I'd never heard of, made some discreet, probably legally dubious inquiries. It was a long shot. A Hail Mary pass in the final seconds of a losing game. But we were desperate. And desperate times, as they say, call for goddamn desperate measures. Meanwhile, I went back to First Union, armed this time with glossy printouts of Noah's gloating Instagram posts, the geotagged Bali location, the pictures with Jessica, a whole 9 yards of his arrogant douchebaggery. I didn't get to see Brenda the teller this time. I got a different manager, a no-nonsense older woman named Mrs. Henderson. The irony of that goddamn name was not lost on me, another sick little cosmic joke in this unfolding nightmare. I laid out the whole sordid story for her. The joint savings account, the stolen 50 grand, my brother living it up in Bali with my ex-girlfriend on my goddamn dime. Mrs. Henderson listened, her expression growing grimmer, more disgusted, with every detail I revealed. She couldn't, she said, give me specific information about where the wire transfer ultimately went, not without a court order or a formal police investigation. Banking privacy laws, bullshit like that. But she could do a few things. She could officially flag Noah Hayes' personal accounts at their bank for suspicious activity, given the circumstances. And she could provide me with a notarized official bank affidavit stating that one Mr. Noah Hayes, as the primary account holder, had indeed initiated a single massive wire transfer for the full available balance of our joint savings account on that specific date, effectively draining it. Small victories, tiny incremental steps, but they were adding up. We were building a case. Then came the parents, Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, or, as I was increasingly starting to think of them, Noah's loyal and willfully, idiotically blind, enablers. They hadn't called me back after my initial furious hang-up on their asses calls, but I just knew they were talking to Noah. Or at least, trying to. Probably getting his side of the story, his carefully curated, bullshit-laden, sob story version of events where he was the victim and I was the ungrateful, jealous, money-grubbing younger brother. Chloe, my brilliant, vengeful angel, had an idea, a risky one. A potentially explosive one. We need to force their hand, Liam, she said, her eyes gleaming with a dangerous, exciting light. We need to make them choose a goddamn side, publicly. Or at least make them so incredibly uncomfortable, so worried about their precious community standing, that they start asking Noah some very hard, very pointed questions. Her plan? A carefully worded, strategically vague, anonymous tip to the local community Facebook group. The one our mother, Carol Hayes, lived and breathed on. The one where she meticulously cultivated her image as the perfect, church-going, bake sale organizing pillar of the community matriarch. The tip wouldn't name names directly. Not yet. That would come later, if necessary. But it would describe, in juicy, speculative, but legally unactionable detail, a situation involving a prominent, well-respected local family, a heated dispute over a substantial joint savings account intended for a shared dream, and one sibling suddenly embarking on an extravagant, unscheduled, luxury lifestyle overseas while the other sibling is left high, dry, and utterly devastated. It might even hint, very subtly, at potential financial impropriety and broken trust. It was a dirty trick. A low blow. But Noah had started this war with dirty tricks. He dragged it down into the goddamn gutter. All's fair in love and war, right? And this was definitely war. The post went up on a Sunday morning, right when all the good church-going folk were probably scrolling through their feeds after their sermon on Christian charity and family values. By Sunday afternoon, my mother's phone was probably melting down from the sheer volume of concerned calls and gossipy private messages. The comments section of that Facebook group, as Chloe gleefully showed me on her phone, had exploded. OMG, who are they talking about? This is terrible. This sounds suspiciously like the another local family known for their own internal dramas. They're always fighting about money. Someone in this town knows something. Spill the goddamn tea already. Then, my Aunt Carol. Mom's perpetually busybody, drama-loving sister. Not to be confused with the foster mother from hell, Carol Peterson, from my other recurring nightmare of a life story. God, my life was a soap opera, chimed in, her comment dripping with feigned shock and delicious vicarious outrage. This is so tragic. Such a betrayal. I truly hope the wronged sibling gets the justice they deserve. Some people in this world have absolutely no shame, no conscience. Aunt Carol, who probably knew damn well who the anonymous post was really about, given how much Mom overshared every tedious detail of our family life with her. She was probably already on the phone with Mom, digging for more dirt. The pressure was on, big time. Later that evening, as predicted, my father, John Hayes, called me. His voice, usually so booming, so self-assured, so full of his own goddamn importance, was strained, tense, almost nervous. Good. Liam, he said, no preamble, no bullshit small talk. What in the Sam Hill is this? This nonsense all over that goddamn Facebook. Your mother is beside herself, utterly beside herself. People are speculating, calling the house. It's a goddamn circus. Nonsense, Dad, I said, my voice dripping pure, unadulterated ice. Is it nonsense that your eldest son, your precious, perfect golden boy Noah, stole $50,000 from me, from our joint house fund, money I worked my ass off for, and is currently sending his thieving, worthless ass in goddamn Bali with my ex-girlfriend? Is that the nonsense you're referring to, Dad? A long, heavy, crackling silence on his end of the line. I could almost hear him deflating. Then a sigh. A weary, defeated, world-weary sigh. The sigh of a man who knew he was caught in a lie but was too damn stubborn, too damn proud to admit it. Noah explained the whole situation to us, Liam. He called us from Bali. He said it was all a terrible misunderstanding about the funds, that he was planning to reimburse you fully with substantial interest from his new, very promising international investment venture. His new international investment venture. Right, the one funded by grand larceny and betrayal. And you actually believe that, Dad? I asked, my voice flat, devoid of any emotion except a deep, weary contempt. You actually truly believe that steaming pile of grade A premium blend bullshit? Another sigh. He was sighing a lot. Maybe all that hot air was finally leaking out. Liam, he's your brother, your older brother. We need to handle this as a family, quietly, discreetly. This public airing of our dirty laundry, it's not helping anyone, son. It's just making things worse. Oh, I think it's helping me just fine, Dad, I retorted, a new dangerous edge creeping into my voice. It's helping me shine a great big goddamn spotlight on exactly what Noah did. What you and Mom are letting him do by defending him, by making excuses for him, by trying to sweep his disgusting behavior under the rug. Maybe if you two hadn't spent your entire goddamn lives treating him like he could do no wrong, like he was a goddamn gift to humanity destined for greatness, and me like I was some kind of permanent, unlovable disappointment, we wouldn't be in this goddamn mess in the first place. He didn't have an answer for that. Of course he didn't. The truth, when it finally slaps you in the face, tends to leave you speechless. I want my money back, Dad, I said, my voice cold now, hard as forged steel. All of it. And I want Noah to face the goddamn consequences for what he did. Or, I swear to God, I will make sure this little nonsense on Facebook is just the goddamn opening act. I will go to the police. I will go to the press. I will hire a goddamn skywriter to spell out Noah Hayes is a thief over this entire town if I have to. Your choice, Dad. Your goddamn choice. I hung up. My heart was pounding like a drum solo. Had I gone too far? Pushing my own parents like that? Threatening them? Maybe. But what other goddamn choice did I have? They and Noah had left me no other goddamn options. This was a war for my survival, for my sanity, and I was just starting to fight back. A few days later, just as Chloe and I were strategizing our next move, trying to figure out how to get actual, legally admissible proof of Noah's offshore accounts, Jessica called from Bali, sounding absolutely, utterly terrified. Liam, he's gone completely crazy, she whispered, her voice barely audible over what sounded like really bad reception and the distant, incongruous sound of crashing ocean waves. He saw those Facebook posts. Someone, probably your delightful Aunt Carol, sent them to him. He's completely lost it. He's furious. He's blaming me for everything. He says, I ratted him out to you, that I'm in on it with you. Did you tell him you talked to me? I asked, keeping my voice carefully neutral, though my gut was already twisting. No, I swear to God, Liam, but he doesn't believe me. He's been drinking, nonstop, for 2 days. He smashed his new phone against the wall. He's saying he's going to make you pay, that you won't get a goddamn dime, that he'll ruin you, destroy you, before he lets you get your hands on his money. Her voice broke on a terrified sob. Liam, I'm scared. Really scared. I want to come home, but he took my passport. He locked it in the hotel safe. He said I'm not going anywhere until he says so. He said I'm his insurance policy against you. My blood rained goddamn cold. Noah, drunk, paranoid, and cornered, was a dangerous, unpredictable animal. And he had Jessica effectively trapped with him, a hostage in their luxury prison of paradise. This had just escalated. Big time. From financial theft to goddamn international kidnapping. Okay, Jessica, I said, my mind racing, already formulating a new, even more aggressive plan. Listen to me, very carefully. Where exactly are you staying? What's the name of the resort? The room number? She told me, her voice choked with tears. I scribbled it all down, my own hand surprisingly steady. All right, stay calm. As calm as you can. Don't provoke him. Don't argue with him. Just try to stay safe. I'm going to make some calls. I'll get you out of there, Jessica. I promise you that. I hung up, my heart hammering against my ribs with a new, terrifying urgency. This wasn't just about $50,000 and a broken dream anymore. This was about Jessica's safety. Whatever I thought of her, whatever mistakes she'd made in the past by falling for Noah's bullshit, she didn't deserve to be trapped with that unhinged psycho. My first call was to the U.S. Embassy in Indonesia. I explained the situation as calmly, as clearly as I could. A U.S. citizen, Jessica Miller. Passport confiscated by her abusive, unstable travel companion, Noah Hayes. Possibly being held against her will at the Grand Nirvana Resort in Bali. They took it seriously. Very seriously. Said they'd contact the local Indonesian authorities immediately. Liaise with the resort security. Said they'd keep me updated. My second call to Chloe, my partner in this goddamn war. Change of plans, Chloe, I said, my voice tight. Forget the IRS tip for now. Noah's gone full goddamn psycho in Bali. He's got Jessica's passport. He's basically holding her hostage. We need to hit him harder and a hell of a lot faster. Chloe, bless her vengeful, brilliant, loyal heart, didn't even hesitate. What do you need, Liam? Just say the word. Everything we have on him, I said, my voice a low, dangerous growl. The bank statements showing the wire transfer. The notarized affidavit from Mrs. Henderson at First Union. Every single one of those gloating, incriminating Instagram posts from Bali. We're not just tipping off the IRS anymore, Chloe. We're going straight to the goddamn DA's office with a criminal complaint. Grand larceny, wire fraud, and now, maybe even kidnapping or unlawful imprisonment. Let's see how blessed Noah Hayes feels when he's extradited back to the States in goddamn handcuffs, facing federal charges. It was a nuclear option, a scorched earth policy, but Noah had thrown the first punch. And the second, and the goddamn third. He'd left me with nothing but rubble and rage. It was time he got a taste of his own goddamn destructive medicine. This wasn't just about getting my money back anymore, or even about saving Jessica. This was about burning his whole rotten, lying, thieving world to the goddamn ground. And I was more than happy to light the goddamn fuse. He wanted a fresh start? Fine. He could start fresh in a federal goddamn penitentiary, scrubbing toilets for the next 10 to 20 years. That sounded about right. The U.S. Embassy in Indonesia, bless their bureaucratic but surprisingly efficient souls, moved faster than a goddamn cheetah on caffeine. Turns out, American citizen potentially being held hostage and financially exploited by unhinged, thieving, abusive boyfriend in a foreign country is a pretty damn good motivator for cutting through international red tape and getting shit done. Within 12 agonizing hours of my frantic, desperate call, local Indonesian authorities, accompanied by a very stern-faced, no-nonsense American consular officer who probably ate nails for breakfast, were pounding on the door of Noah and Jessica's luxury beachfront villa in beautiful, sun-drenched, soon-to-be hellish Bali. Jessica, smart girl, had apparently managed to feign a sudden, violent bout of Bali belly, locking herself in the master bathroom with her cheap burner phone just as they arrived, giving me a running, terrified, whispered play-by-play of the unfolding drama. Noah, according to her texts I was immediately, frantically forwarding to the consular officer's direct line as further, real-time evidence of his escalating instability and control, had initially tried to play it cool. Mr. Charming, Mr. Innocent Suave. Officer, gentlemen, there must be some dreadful mistake. My girlfriend Jessica, she's just a little overwrought. Hormonal. Women, you know how they can be, am I right? The condescending, sexist goddamn pig. He actually tried that line. On international law enforcement, but when they politely but very firmly asked for Jessica's passport so they could verify her well-being, and he couldn't, or more accurately, wouldn't produce it, and Jessica, on cue from my texted instructions, started screaming bloody murder from behind the locked bathroom door that he was holding her against her will, that he'd stolen her passport, that he was a dangerous, abusive monster. Well, Noah's little charade of concerned boyfriend apparently fell apart, spectacularly, and very, very loudly. They didn't arrest him right then and there, not for kidnapping, not yet. The legalities were complicated, apparently. But they escorted a sobbing, relieved Jessica along with her now recovered passport, which they found, surprise, surprise, hidden deep inside his locked luggage, the controlling, gaslighting bastard, to a secure, undisclosed location. They arranged an emergency, all expenses paid, courtesy of Uncle Sam, ironically, flight back to the States for her the very next day. Noah, my dear brother, was strongly advised by both the Indonesian police and the very unamused American consular officer to remain in Bali, to not even think about leaving the country, pending further investigation into Jessica's rather serious and now officially documented claims of unlawful imprisonment and potential financial coercion. And as a delightful little parting gift, the consular officer apparently made a very pointed, very official inquiry to the local authorities about the legitimate source of Mr. Noah Hayes' rather extravagant and now highly suspicious vacation funds. Oh, happy goddamn day. While Noah was stewing in his self-made tropical paradise prison, probably contemplating the finer points of Indonesian jail cells, Chloe and I, back in the good old US of A, unleashed holy hell on the home front. That anonymous, meticulously documented tip to the Internal Revenue Service about Noah's sudden, unexplained, and frankly rather suspicious wealth, his creative and potentially offshore investment ventures, and his complete and utter lack of any discernible legitimate income to support said ventures, it didn't just hit pay dirt. It struck goddamn oil. Apparently, my dear financially savvy older brother, in his infinite arrogant wisdom, hadn't just stolen my 50 grand. Oh no, that was just petty cash for him, apparently. He'd been systematically skimming from his previous employers for years, hiding his ill-gotten gains in a series of poorly disguised shell corporations and dodgy, untraceable offshore accounts that he probably thought made him look like some kind of goddamn international man of mystery. He wasn't just a thief who'd robbed his own brother. He was a goddamn amateur-hour white-collar criminal, a wannabe Jordan Belfort with none of the brains and all of the scumbaggery. And the IRS, as everyone in America knows, has a notoriously shitty, non-existent sense of humor when it comes to undeclared income and blatant tax evasion. They didn't just open an audit into Noah Hayes. They launched a full-scale, multi-agency criminal investigation. And as part of that investigation, they started looking very, very closely at anyone and everyone associated with his finances, which, unfortunately, but oh so deliciously, included my dear parents, Mr. and Mrs. John and Carol Hayes. Mom and Dad, when they got the official, terrifyingly formal IRS notification of an impending audit, along with a polite but incredibly firm request from Mr. Wan. David Lee, my new sharp-as-a-tack, junkyard dog-with-a-law degree lawyer from the Legal Aid Society, a true godsend recommended by Chloe's friend who swore he ate Ivy League corporate sharks like Davenport for breakfast, to discuss the rather glaring discrepancies in their son Noah's financial declarations versus, say, the actual documented wire transfer of $50,000 from a joint savings account he shared with me. Well, let's just say their previously unshakable, united front in unwavering support of their precious, perfect golden boy Noah started to crack badly, and very, very satisfyingly. Suddenly, my phone, which had been ominously, blessedly silent from their end for days, started blowing up like a goddamn fireworks factory. Mom, crying, hysterical, incoherent. Liam, honey, you have to call off these awful government people. They're asking about Noah's business ventures. They're talking about freezing our accounts, audits, and penalties. Your father's blood pressure is through the goddamn roof. This is all your fault, Liam. Your fault for making such a big public deal out of a little family misunderstanding. My fault. Still my goddamn fault. Even now, after everything, the sheer, unadulterated, mind-boggling gall of these people. A little family misunderstanding, Mom, I said, my voice as cold and dead as my love for them. $50,000 of my money, my entire future, gone up in a puff of Bali-scented smoke? Your eldest son stranding my ex-girlfriend in a goddamn foreign country after robbing her too? Him trying to frame me for his thievery, to paint me as the villain in this whole disgusting charade? That's your current definition of a little family misunderstanding, is it? But he's your brother, Liam, she wailed, the desperation in her voice so thick you could cut it with a knife. Family has to stick together, always. He made a mistake, a youthful indiscretion. He didn't mean any real harm. Youthful? The guy was almost 30 goddamn years old. He wasn't a teenager stealing cookies from the jar. He was a grown man committing grand larceny. He didn't make a mistake, Mom, I said. My patience, my empathy, my last shred of filial duty, completely, utterly gone, evaporated. He made a choice, a deliberate, calculated, malicious, evil choice, to steal from me, to lie to you, to lie to everyone he's ever met, and now he's finally facing the goddamn consequences. Just like you two are for enabling him, for coddling him, for turning a blind, idiotic eye to his bullshit for his entire goddamn spoiled, entitled life. I hung up with a satisfying, decisive click. Blocked her number. Blocked Dad's number too when he started calling a few minutes later, his voice all bluster and impotent threats about disowning me again if I didn't. Stop this vindictive, unnatural nonsense immediately and show some goddamn family loyalty. Disown me? They practically disowned me at birth, emotionally speaking. This was just making it official. Good goddamn riddance to bad rubbish. The next few weeks were a blur of legal consultations with David Lee, IRS inquiries that were starting to sound increasingly criminal, and a strange, almost surreal sense of vindication. Dark, twisted, but undeniably satisfying vindication. Jessica, back in the States, shaken but physically unharmed, gave a full, detailed statement to the authorities about Noah's increasingly erratic and threatening behavior in Bali, his confiscation of her passport, his admissions about the stolen money. She even, to my genuine surprise, offered to testify against him in court if it came to that, said she owed me that much for her initial stupidity in trusting him. And maybe, just maybe, she did. Noah, meanwhile, was finally, reluctantly forced to slink back from his Bali nightmare, his tail tucked firmly between his legs, probably after the local Indonesian authorities made it abundantly clear that his extended, involuntary vacation was well and truly over. He arrived at JFK to a hero's welcome from absolutely no one except a very stern-faced, unimpressed IRS agent and two grim-looking detectives from the white-collar crime division who were waiting for him patiently at customs. Apparently, my little anonymous tip, combined with whatever official report the U.S. Embassy in Indonesia had filed regarding his holding Jessica's passport, had kicked the entire goddamn hornet's nest into high gear. His arrest was surprisingly quiet. No dramatic airport takedown for the evening news, just a polite, almost bored Mr. Noah Hayes, we need you to come with us to answer some rather urgent questions regarding certain financial transactions. But the pictures in the local paper the next day? His usually smug, arrogant face now pale, terrified, and distinctly green around the gills, being led away in handcuffs by two impassive federal agents? Oh, that was chef's kiss goddamn beautiful. That was a picture I was gonna frame. The legal battle, when it finally came, was long and ugly and expensive for him. Noah, surprise, surprise, pleaded not guilty to everything. His new, even more expensive Chardonnay Armani suit lawyer, probably paid for by my parents, desperately mortgaging their already over-mortgaged souls, or by Noah frantically trying to liquidate what was left of his rapidly dwindling and now heavily scrutinized offshore accounts, tried every dirty trick in the legal playbook. He tried to paint Noah as a naive, misunderstood financial prodigy who'd simply made a few unwise but certainly not illegal investment choices. He tried to paint me as the jealous, bitter, vindictive younger brother out for revenge, consumed by a lifelong pathological envy of Noah's natural brilliance and success. He even had the goddamn nerve to try and subpoena Chloe, claiming she was part of my elaborate conspiracy to frame poor, innocent Noah. David Lee, my lawyer, my goddamn junkyard dog warrior, didn't just eat him alive in court. He dismembered him, metaphorically speaking, piece by painstaking piece. The evidence was just too damn overwhelming. The irrefutable wire transfer of my 50 grand. The glorious, damning, number-blessed Bali Instagram posts. Oh, how the prosecution loved those. Jessica's calm, credible, and utterly devastating testimony about Noah's behavior, his admissions to her about the stolen money, his confiscation of her passport, the forensic accounting report from the IRS that laid bare Noah's years of systematic skimming, his hidden offshore accounts, his blatant tax evasion, and, of course, my parents' own panicked, contradictory, and ultimately self-incriminating statements to the IRS investigators, desperately trying to cover for their precious, perfect, golden boy, only succeeding in digging him and themselves into an even deeper, darker, inescapable hole. In the end, Noah Hayes, my perfect, untouchable, smarter than everyone older brother, was found guilty. Guilty on all counts. Guilty of grand larceny, my $50,000. Guilty of multiple counts of federal tax evasion. Guilty of wire fraud. He wasn't sentenced to life in prison, unfortunately. The wheels of justice grind slowly, and white-collar crime, even blatant, asshole-level white-collar crime, rarely gets you hard time unless you're Bernie Madoff. But 10 years in a federal penitentiary, with the possibility of parole after 7 if he behaved himself, which, let's be honest, was a long shot for a narcissist like Noah, plus massive, crippling fines and court-ordered restitution orders that would leave him financially destitute for the rest of his miserable, scheming life, yeah, that felt pretty damn good. That felt like a decent down payment on justice. My parents? They were a goddamn wreck. Their perfect golden world, their perfect golden sun, all shattered, tarnished, revealed as a cheap, tawdry fake. They were facing their own significant IRS penalties and potential charges for failing to report certain offshore assets. Noah had so generously gifted them over the years, gifts funded by his years of thievery, of course, including, probably, a chunk of my money. They tried to reach out to me again after Noah's sentencing. More tears, more pathetic pleas for family unity. More bullshit about how Noah just made some bad choices and didn't truly deserve this. How I should be more forgiving, more understanding. I didn't even bother replying this time. I just forwarded their tear-stained, self-pitying emails to David Lee, who probably had a good, hearty laugh before filing them away in the increasingly thick delusional ex-guardians and their equally delusional excuses folder he'd specifically created for my case. The house fund, my 50 grand, I eventually got most of it back. After Noah's few remaining legitimate, and now heavily lined, assets were seized and liquidated by the government. Not all of it, of course. The Bali trip with Jessica had been extensive, and lawyers, even junkyard dog warriors from Legal Aid, don't work for free forever. But I got enough. Enough to finally, after all this goddamn hell, buy that little fixer-upper near the park, just for me and Chloe this time. No goddamn brothers involved, ever again. It took a while to gut the old, dated kitchen, to scrape off the hideous 70s wallpaper, to repaint the faded, depressing walls, to plant that little vegetable garden Chloe had always dreamed of in the sunny backyard. But with every swing of the sledgehammer, every fresh coat of bright, clean paint, every new, hopeful seedling that pushed its way up through the dark, rich earth, it felt like I was rebuilding more than just a house. I was rebuilding my life, my future. A future Noah Hayes had tried so desperately, so cruelly, so arrogantly to steal from me. Do I miss him? My brother? The one I grew up with? The one I shared bunk beds and stupid secret childhood dreams with before he turned into whatever the hell he became? Sometimes. In a weird, twisted, grieving kind of way. I miss the idea of him, the brother he could have been, if the darkness hadn't consumed him. The brother he never truly was. But the Noah who tried to destroy me, who tried to rob me not just of my money, but of my sanity, my future, my goddamn hope. The Noah who was currently learning all about the unique joys of communal showers and truly terrible prison coffee, good riddance to bad goddamn rubbish. May he rot in hell. Or at least in federal prison for a very, very long time. My parents, John and Carol Hayes, I haven't spoken to them since that last pathetic blame-shifting email after Noah's sentencing. Maybe one day, years from now, if they ever manage to pull their heads out of their asses and offer a genuine, no bullshit, heartfelt apology for their lifetime of enabling and their ultimate betrayal, maybe then we can talk. Maybe. But I'm not holding my goddamn breath. Right now, I'm too busy living my life. The life I built. The life Noah couldn't steal, no matter how hard he tried. Chloe and I, we're good. More than good. We're solid. This whole goddamn nightmare, this trial by fire, it didn't break us. It forged us, made us stronger. We're even talking about maybe starting our own family one day in our little fixer-upper house with our little thriving garden, a real family built on trust, honesty, respect, and absolutely no goddamn joint bank accounts with anyone named Noah Hayes. Ever. Sometimes, late at night, when Chloe's asleep beside me, her breathing soft, and even in the quiet darkness, I pull out that old, faded photograph of Noah and me. Two gap-toothed, innocent little kids grinning like idiots at the camera on some long-forgotten summer vacation before the world, before he got so goddamn complicated and cruel. And I wonder what the hell went wrong. Where did that innocent little kid go? And why did he turn into such a cold-hearted, manipulative, thieving goddamn monster? I'll probably never know the full answer. And honestly, I'm not sure I really want to anymore. Some doors are best left padlocked shut. Some secrets are best left buried deep in the goddamn dirt. My only real regret in this whole goddamn mess that I didn't see the snake he was sooner before he had a chance to strike so hard. But hey, lesson learned, right? A very expensive, very painful, but ultimately very valuable lesson. And trust me, it's a lesson I will never, ever goddamn forget. He wanted a fresh start? Well, he got one in a lovely 8x10 cell, and so did I. And mine, unlike his, actually involves sunshine. And maybe, just maybe, after all this goddamn hell, a little bit of hard-earned, well-deserved peace